Budget magic time, playing some Alchemist Burn in Standard. We got a mulligan that one. Jeez, the all Alchemist hand. We do not want a second Reveler in this hand. Forest for our opponent. Well, Mountain Goo. Oh, my lord. Opponent has a Sylvan Advocate. Luckily, gets blocked by our Thermal Alchemist. Pass the turn. Also dies to our Collective Defiance if we get there. So I should have played Falconwrath Gorger on turn 1, although it would not have mattered because Sylvan Advocate would have locked it down. So, a punt. I'm a little tired still from being up all night covering the Pro Tour. Alright, let's pass the turn. I really think that this deck might have a good matchup against a lot of the decks that are performing well at the Pro Tour. They just don't seem to interact with what we're doing. They're grindy and slow and gonna win the long game, but we're just gonna kill them. So a land here would be insane. If we draw a land, we get to Collective Defiance with Escalate, kill Sylvan Advocate, hit our opponent for 3, deal 4 damage with Thermal Alchemist. So we'd put our opponent like down to 10 essentially. So let's Thermal Alchemist. There's the land. All right. So tap Thermal Alchemist. Tap Thermal Alchemist. Escalate 2 modes. Kill Sylvan Advocate. Hit our opponent for 3. Untap both of our Alchemists. Get in with Falconwrath Gorger. Opponent's down to 14. Or down to 12 now. And a virtual 10 thanks to Thermal Alchemist. Hopefully our opponent does not have Languish. Languish is the one card that's a bit annoying here. It would kill both of our Thermal Alchemists. Well, they're Sunken Hollow. Jace, okay. Not incredibly relevant here. Wouldn't mind drawing just another burn spell. So let's Thermal Alchemist to 11, Thermal Alchemist to 10. Another Reveler is like the worst draw in our deck. Get in with our Falconwrath Gorger. Opponent grasps it. Well, let's play another Gorger. Pass the turn. We just haven't got enough spells to make our Reveler good. If we ever get to cast a Reveler, though, we likely will be able to get enough burn to win. Liliana, the last hope, gets to kill our Gorger. Lumbering falls for our opponent. Going to flip the Jace. How many types are in their graveyard? 1, 2, 3, 4, I think. They're going to flashback grapple. Get back a Sylvan Advocate, I assume. So they still aren't especially close to an Emrakul. Let's hit our opponent for now. No redirect. Thermal Alchemist is also good at killing planeswalkers. No redirects. What do we draw? A mountain. Not great. Alright, let's pass the turn. Opponent does get to scry 2, thanks to the Oath of Jace. Forest for our opponent. We have just not drawn spells. I guess we mulligan this game as well. And potentially left 2 damage on the table. So our opponent gets back a Jace. We are an Exquisite Firecraft away from winning if our opponent can't kill our Alchemist. Takes up the Jace. Not especially relevant on our defender. Plays an Advocate. Plays a Jace. And passes. Well, hit our opponent down to 7. No redirects. Hit our opponent down to 6. And see what we draw. Fiery Temper. Man, we are going to get punished for leaving that 1 damage on the table. Alright, let's pass the turn. Opponent gets to scry with Oath of Jace. I think we need to activate a Thermal Alchemist and ping the Jace for 1. So it can't just flashback traverse to get Emrakul, for example. They can flip a Jace and do it. I think our opponent has the Emrakul, but I don't think they can quite cast it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Sorcery. Alright, they take up the Jace. Give up the Liliana. Gets back another Jace. Jace is all around. Well, if we draw a burn spell, we win. Any burn spell wins this game. And if we had played our Falkenrath Gorger on turn 1, we would have already won. Alright, there's Emrakul. This does not just win our opponent the game. So they're going to get to take our turn, but we're still going to get a draw. So there's an Emrakul. Opponent doesn't even attack. Alright, so let's hit our opponent down to 5. Fiery Temper our opponent. Man, I'm half asleep. We actually just win right there. That was not a troll. I was just partway asleep. It was a long night of Pro Tour coverage. Alright, Golden Knight Castigators should come in. And maybe Molten Vortex. And I think we... This feels bad, but I think we go down Falkenrath Gorger because it dies to Liliana. And try it like that. Alright, we're on the draw. We just need to draw 1 land, and this hand is awesome. Well, the fact that we won that first game shows you how strong this deck is, because we played pretty poorly and still won. Lumbering Falls for our opponent. There's our mountain. Alright, mountain, go. Swamp for our opponent, and there's a Jace. Alright, let's just Fiery Impulse the Jace. Mountain and Thermal Alchemist. Pass the turn. Hissing Quagmire for our opponent. And Grapple with the Past. Mills Mono Lands. Gets back the Jace. We draw a Bedlam Reveler. Alright, let's Abbot. Do we get a land? We do not. Alright. Pass the turn. Was hoping for a land there. Also hoping our opponent does not have Liliana here, because it just shoots down our Abbot for free. Alright, there's a Jace. Jace is fine. Duress. We have 2 Incendiary Flows, so it doesn't especially matter. We still get to kill the Jace. And deal a bunch of damage. Takes 1 of our Incendiary Flows. Well, hit our opponent for 1 with Thermal Alchemist. Ooh, Sanitarium's nice. So actually, well, our opponent knows what's going on. So let's tap Thermal Alchemist. Incendiary Flow the Jace. Prowess on Abbot. Untap Alchemist. And get in for 3. Opponent's down to 15. Plus we have an Alchemist activation. And we're getting kind of close to Bedlam Reveler. Alright, Grasp on our Abbot. And Sylvan Advocate. Well, let's hit our opponent. We draw a Zergo. Alright, let's just Exquisite Firecraft our opponent. Thermal Alchemist. Untap Alchemist. Such a good card. All our burn spells get +1 damage. Plus it blocks Sylvan Advocate. Apparently good enough to overcome our punts. Opponent's going to attack. I think we actually just take it in case they have a Liliana post-combat would actually kill Thermal Alchemist, and we kind of want to keep it alive. Alright, they just have another Sylvan Advocate. Well, let's activate. Opponent's down to 8. Collective Defiance. 4, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. What do we put our opponent to if we Collective Defiance? 7, 6, 5, 4, 3. That doesn't guarantee that we win, but it's probably our best bet. Put our opponent to 7. 3 damage to our opponent. Put them to 4. And pass the turn. So if our opponent draws a land, their stuff gets huge and kind of scary. If they don't draw a land, then we're just in really great shape. Alright, Oath of Jace is going to find our opponent land, but it is not going to let them attack with Lumbering Falls. And it's hard to imagine that we lose from here. We have very few bad draws in this situation. Wow, they didn't even take a land? Alright, well, we will block this time. They can't have Liliana and a land in hand. Not a possibility. Alright, put our opponent to... So, land wins us the game, most likely. Lots of things win us the game. Including... Incendiary Flow. Might as well tap the Alchemist in between, because it's the right thing to do. And take that, Sultai Delirium. Oh my god. Well, I played really poorly that first game. Like, really, really poorly. And we still just absolutely trounced our opponent, because this deck is really good when everyone's dirtling around with graveyards.